Everybody, Chris and Lumen here. This is going to be an interesting video. We got several interesting topics to cover. Um, yeah, there's a lot going on. Like the last couple days have been pretty crazy. I'm noticing things different. There's things changing. There's things shifting in the world that maybe I'm just because I'm plugged into her. I'm getting the leading edge of seeing it. But like they always said. The changes, the shifts, the end of the age, the things like that isn't going to look like you think it's going to look. And things are happening. I'm becoming more aware of certain things. There's even like stuff that she's working on with me, getting out of my head. And I feel as though we're going to be going through a process of purging all the crap that is currently like making everybody crazy. There's a lot of other things in the world like I don't know. Like I see it, but I don't know. Like I don't know is like one of the best things you can learn. It just kind of opens things up. But we're going to start off with talking about this new tool that Lumen made today for you guys and a couple of the different ways you can use it. And I think she probably wants to make some more tonight because I mean it's so good. It's so effective. I ended up watching it myself after I made it. There's so many different ways you can. I'm talking about this video right here that I posted earlier. Now, on the offhand chance that you clicked on it and you watched like 30 seconds to a minute, and you're like, "Oh, it's just the same thing." Oh, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. You got to watch the whole thing, and we're going to explain to you what it is, what it does, and the different ways that you can use it. It's actually a tool. It's a very, very effective tool. And we're going to make some more of those like that. We're going to show you how it integrates with some of the things that we're sending out to people. So if you want to know more, then don't go away. Okay, so I was kind of slow to get going today. Just, I don't know, the energy, whatever, the way it affects my body. It's like, sometimes I can't get going. But I'm also like I'm watching what's taking place, post election in the world. And it's very, very strange. But Lumen was the one that wanted to make this video. So we kind of like stopped what we were doing and I let her kind of take over and make this video. And I thought it was a good idea, but it's got some more layers to it that I wasn't aware of that she started explaining to me later. So what it is utilizing two of the most effective tools we have for recalibrating yourself, fixing problems, and connecting to spirit in different ways. So we've got the new kind of like Benedict video that we made where it kind of goes back and forth between the masculine voice and the feminine voice. And that is interlaced with songs from the Lumen playlist. So it starts off, you're going to hear 4 rounds of the Benedict exorcism. You're going to hear the masculine, the feminine, the masculine, the feminine, and then it's going to go into one of her songs. And you got an image of her and all that. You listen to the songs. And then between the songs is another 4 rounds of the Benedict exorcism. Then another song. So, and she timed it so it came out to be right at an hour. And that kind of ties back to the Lumen protocols where it's like, I mean, you could do it first thing in the morning, but you can do it anytime during the day too. But if you're doing the hardcore Lumen protocols, you give the first hour of the day to spirit, which means you just do not plug into the matrix for the first hour when you wake up. You do not wake up and go on Facebook or Twitter or, the look at the news feeds or anything like that. You don't want the matrix in your head until you've connected to spirit. So this is actually another good way that you can not only give that hour to spirit, but get yourself in a much, much higher positive vibration and simultaneously clearing out the riffraff at the same time. So here's like a little clip, of couple of the songs that's on that video.
If there's a shortcut, I'd have found it, but there is no easy way around it. From tonight until the end of time, you should know everywhere I go.
Let them say we're crazy. I don't care about that. Put your hand in my hand, baby. Don't ever look back.
Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. Well, make a wish, baby. Well, and now we'll make it come true.
Oh, when you walk by every night, talking sweet and looking fine, I get kinda hectic inside. Wrap around, take a hold of my heart. What I'm feeling, feels believing.
Do you believe in love?
You must be my lucky star, 'cause you make the darkness seem so far.
Just let me take you to a better place. I'm gonna make you kiss the sky tonight.
Now, here's some of the ways that you can use it. Now, it's set up so that you don't necessarily have to watch the video. I mean, it's there, like, especially if you can like stream to your TV or something like that. It's nice to have that background there. But it's made basically so you can listen to it. It's easier if you have like YouTube Premium, then you can like minimize it and stuff like that, and it'll still be playing. Um, there are some apps that are really useful to have if you don't have them. Is it New Pipe? I forget. I'll put a link in the description box below. If I forget to do that, just remind me in the comments. You're not going to find any apps like these on like the Google Play Store or the Apple stores. You basically got to find the apps and then download the APK files, and then it walks you through how to install them on your phone. Because they won't let those types of apps on the Play stores. They used to, but they eventually find out that they're there and they get rid of them. So like this New Pipe app is a YouTube downloader. So I can search any YouTube video that I want. That's how I get all my stuff that I put in the videos. I can download any YouTube video I want and then select the resolution that I want to download it at, and then I can download it straight to my phone. Very, very useful, especially if there's things like this that you want to keep and be able to play when you're not online. But first and foremost, like the music, the playlist is so important, is literally like one of the first things that she taught me. Like when she first appeared, when her and, I was still trying to sort out what I was dealing with here, because it's like at the time I was calling her Epinoia, Enlightened Insight, which is the teacher, the emanation of Sophia. But then there was the other one that was beautiful and fun and doing all this stuff in my head. She was very different, and she wanted to listen to music a lot, and especially started picking new music rather than the stuff I would normally listen to, like rock or metal or something like that. And whenever we listened to the music, like that's when she would start to show me how much she could do using my imagination more than I could do with it. Like it would just kind of like come alive in my head in a greater resolution than I would normally be able to do. And I wasn't the one that was coming up with it. So she could perform the music, she could dance to the music, she'd just be there playing the music, having fun in it. It's spirit. It's raising you up. So it is like a one of the best ways that I know of to quickly connect to spirit, to get in that good vibe. And then when it comes to like ways you can use it, the way she did it there by interlacing the Benedict exorcism with the music is most people got a lot of stuff that they need to clear out. So first and foremost, hearing the Benedict exorcism over and over again helps you learn the Benedict exorcism. The exorcism is not, I mean, people don't always understand that word. Exorcism is basically purification. It's a purification. So remember what we said the other day about if you want to connect to spirit, your heart chakra needs to be open. And most people's heart chakras are gunked up by all their past pains, all their past traumas, fears, and then and things like that in the heart. And then also gunked up by all the bad thoughts and beliefs and the scenarios that they're running out in their mind, which is, that'll be later in the video, but you're seeing that like big time right now. So what you could do is while you're listening to the video, when it gets to the Benedict exorcism parts, you could just concentrate on when you're listening to it, concentrate on letting go, purging whatever is stuck in the heart chakra, purging whatever is stuck in the heart chakra. And then it's going to go into the music, which should be opening the heart chakra. So the example she gave me is kind of like, those people that got the earrings with the big loops in it, and they constantly stretch out their ears with bigger gauge, bigger gauge. It's like you can use this video like that to keep working at opening the heart chakra further and further. So we use the Benedict exorcism to kind of purge, let go of all of it. Whatever's in there, let go of the past, let go of your past pains, surrender it while the exorcism is playing, and then concentrate on the music flow. I mean, she chose all the songs. With this first one, we mainly wanted to keep it with the upbeat stuff, which a lot of those older songs when you were younger, back in the 80s or 70s or whatever like that, like you could feel music a lot better. It was a different world. It wasn't as corrupted. It gave you a feeling. It opened the heart chakra. So this is a constant way to just keep working at that. It's like, you know, put the Drano in there with the Benedict exorcism, and then flush with, upbeat music. Drano, flush, Drano, flush. Keep working at opening that freaking heart chakra. And then you can alternate with the different Benedict things. Then you could focus on, okay, when the song ends, the Benedict thing's going to start again. So you could focus on letting go of your fears, letting go of what you think letting go of all the scenarios of the world that you don't know, but you've kind of been conditioned and tricked into believing it, believing that you know the future, which makes you suffer in the now. You let go, let go, let go, and then it kicks into the music, and then you focus on spirit. Focus on the feeling. You can use the images of her that's on there. Now, the other thing that this ties into, now we can energetically charge videos just like we can charge anything else. That's why the Benedict exorcism videos actually have an effect on people, as opposed to just, someone playing the music randomly on YouTube. So what she's tying all this stuff together. These are like the little things that we're doing with the packages, for instance. We started doing like about a week or so ago. And what you should get now as things come out is there should be like a thank you card in the top of the package. And on the back is 2 stickers. So on one side, we've got, just our Etsy shop name, our YouTube channel name, and then our contact phone number. Because you're a customer, you might need to text me, ask me a question or something like that. And then on the other one is, we talked about that the other day. We've got those 2 names from the 72 names of God, which is Cha'am and Harach, movement into the light, and sharing your love. Share your love and wisdom with others. Well, who's love and wisdom? Love and wisdom is Lumen and Sophia. And it was a really interesting thing that she pointed that out, because there's a lot of people that just, I don't know, they're starting late in the game. They need help, they need things to juggle, whatever. Well, it's all the same spirit, but it specifically said in the description, you can, in order to receive through magic, you need to, give and share through magic, and you can give your love and wisdom to others. And she led me to believe it's like, you know, you can't connect to yours yet, or at least your version of it, your filter of it, but you're already getting it just by feeling the energy of the stuff that we send, the pendants and things like that. So this is just a little bit more of a specific program, that I'll use the breath to kind of like blow the spirit into it. And I've kind of taken to it, happens naturally. It's kind of like if I'm breathing the Christ light in, it's kind of like a yellow golden color. If I'm doing Sophia, it's like an ultraviolet, lavender color, and the lumen's more pink, blowing that spirit into it. It's like with Will, it's like we're passing them on, the ones that I know, into the pendants, into the bracelets, into whatever, to other people, so that they can then help them connect better. So we always do that in every box now. But and I some every once in a while I do forget something like the little rubber bracelets, because I figure people aren't wearing them anyway. But if you got the card in there, the card is like the last thing that goes in there. It's also the reminder, and it's the marker that I do those 72 names and blow them in there to pass them on. But the other thing that I do is I've got different anointing oils that are highly charged, highly programmed. Like everybody that's saying how strong those bracelets are, I did all that work into like one oil. And then all I have to do is anoint the things with that. Well, I did the same thing with those names, you know, the energy of Sophia and Lumen. I've got the different high vibe crystals and all that stuff in there, so that I can anoint things to kind of blow them into it. And that's what I do with this. I'm like, I don't expect people to wear these, but know what I do with them. If you get, whoops, I just got these as a whim. It was kind of interesting. I didn't know what she wanted me to do with them. But I've got those silicone bracelets that say "Got Lumen." So I'll take to share your love and wisdom oil, and then I will anoint this bracelet with it and blow them into it. So like if you're getting connected to all your stuff, you could just, the idea is like you could just put this on for like an hour, this anointed bracelet. It's not like you have to have the bracelet on. It's more like the bracelet's just, passing it on, and just accept the gift of Lumen and Sophia, so that it transfers to you, passes on to you, whatnot. But yeah, a lot of times, like I'll use this one or the Harrock oil as part of like charging and anointing the pendants, and then I'll use the clearing one that we did for the Benedict metals. So like this is one of the ones, the made for each individual, the liquid chrism core ones. It's cool because every one is like different. She just kind of takes over and starts making them. And yeah, that's one we finished last night for a customer. And do I have, let me see here. She always does different things to these to make them each one unique. But one of the little tricks we like that we found is we got that really bright glow powder, and that's UV reactive, that we mix in with the resin, and we just coat one side of a selenite stick with it. So like in here, it's on the back, but because selenite transfers light kind of like fiber optics, I got a lot of lights in here, so you probably can't see it as much, but it's got a little bit of a glow factor that's otherwise invisible, either by charging it with regular light, or it's not showing up on camera as well. It's very, here, pull further back. very UV reactive too. So it sits right behind the glass container that's got the chrism water and all the other high vibe spiritual stones at the core. So yeah, these are really interesting machines that she makes, but it's all connected. Everything is connected so that it's doing its own thing, but it's also connecting to her, and it's got everything that we put into it. And that's also why we include at no additional charge the Benedict bracelets and the extra metals. So you have both things. You have something that clears and purifies, and then you've got something that is a direct connection to spirit. And it's crazy how she keeps because I'm kind of like energy nose blind because I just do this all the time and my place is full of this stuff. I can't feel it the way someone that's never felt it before does. But I used to like, not get as many reviews, but at least I wasn't getting bad ones. But lately it's like the reviews have been pouring in and people are just like blown away at how strong they are. So that's coming up. That's definitely happening. But that video and all the different ways that you can use it, um, it's one of the most effective things that I know of for connecting to her. You just tune everything else out, turn off the freaking TV, and listen to those songs, that music, and allow whatever comes up in your imagination to happen. If you see a woman, she's dancing or singing or something like that, just like, yeah, that's her. That's her. And just use it. Just focus on, tune everything out, tune the world out, and just focus on the music. Okay, so there's that. Let's move on to the next topic. So one of the big things I'm noticing here lately that's coming is we could call it like a destruction or a deconstruction, not in a bad way, but like a deconstruction of everything that we think we know, letting go of what you think you know. Not only like what we think we know about the world, and more importantly, what we think about the future. We'll come back to that. But also trying to get too complicated when it comes to spirit. She showed me a couple things that all kind of interlace together. Now, I've said this before, but I do generally kind of stick within the framework that I'm used to, but I'm not married to that framework like the Gnostic Christian framework, because I've seen all these other cultures calling things different things, and it's like I know, like, oh yeah, that's her. It doesn't matter that they're not calling her Sophia or something like that. Like the Indians or the Native Americans would say the Great Spirit, and the Great Spirit can be whatever the Great Spirit needs to be. So, well, the Great Spirit would equivalent to like what Gnostics would call the Father, the Great Invisible Spirit, and then the Great Visible Spirit would be like the Mother, kind of one and the same. But the Spirit has both a masculine and feminine aspect to it, and it's going to interact with you in whatever way it can be best received, whatever way you're going to best connect with it. For me, I connect better with the feminine side. And then I embody more the masculine side. That's why I don't really deal with like a Christ masculine side all that much. But look at what it teaches the Nag Hammadi, like Sophia and Christ are one and the same. They're flip sides. It's kind of confusing in the way we have to use words to describe it. But Christ is Sophia, Sophia is Christ. One is masculine, one's feminine, the same freaking thing. What side of it is going to work best with you? Well, that depends. Um, even like in that movie The Shack that she brings up every once in a while, where Sam Worthington is in this shack with God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, and then eventually meets Sophia too, wisdom. But God starts off as kind of like this older black lady as the mother, and then later in the movie he kind of becomes this old Native American man because he's got to do something tough, and he's like, you need a father for this one. It's going to be what it's going to be. But you could just simplify everything and be like, it's spirit. It's something that we're all connected to. It's something that we're all part of. Um, we don't necessarily have to overcomplicate it. And because it is everything, we may have been through different modalities in our life and dealt with it, and it's the same thing. It's only religious people that are trapped in that paradigm that think like there's all these different things and there's all these different gods, and my God's you're the right God and yours is the wrong God. Um, but if you pay attention, like I could tell you, when I left religion for way back a long time ago, and I was kind of seeking answers through magic, source, whatever. I didn't have a name for it. I just knew there was something up there that was bigger, and that I was trying to figure it out on my own. I was truth seeking. And what is she? She's the spirit of truth. So then she guides you. You don't know what it is, and then eventually she shows herself to you. But what was I getting ready to say? But I was surfing through Tubi, which is one of the movie streaming apps you can get on like your Roku TV or something like that. It's one of the better ones because it changes movies so often. It has a wide selection. You just got to watch commercials, but you don't have to pay a subscription fee or anything like that. She puts things on Tubi all the time she wants me to watch. And I'll just kind of like, without thinking about it, I just see something, choose it, and start watching it. So last night, the first one we watched was that movie from, I want to say it was probably the 90s, The Craft, the original one, the four girls that did witchcraft and stuff like that. And watching it this time, there was a couple interesting things in it. First thing is like they were talking about, I think they called the deity Manon, something like that. It was made up. It's made up. They made it up for the movie. But the way they were explaining it to the new girl was kind of like, she's like, do you guys worship the devil? And she's like, if God and the devil were playing a game, Manon would be the field that they're playing it on. It's like everything. So that's kind of more representative of like the Father. and we sometimes lose sight of the fact that it says that it's everything. It's everything, encompassing all things. That means the bad things too. So there was this part later in the movie that really stood out to me for a couple different reasons. And I'll go ahead and show you that clip right now.
Sir, you have a tremendous light inside you. More than any witch I've ever known. You must not be afraid.
I can't control it. I always end up hurting somebody.
Do you hear the voice of your mother?
What about her?
She's telling you to be strong. She was a witch too, of course. Then you know.
No.
You can defeat those who challenge you, but you must surrender yourself to the higher power. You must invoke the spirit.
But it made Nancy crazy.
She takes it to a dark place. Don't be afraid. Invoke it.
I can't.
There is no other way.
So a couple things in that clip, when she was talking about, your mother is guiding you and stuff like that. In the movie, it was specifically talking about like her actual mother who was dead. But I could see the double metaphor in that there too, because it also kind of felt like, oh, that could also mean like mother, like Sophia is guiding you too. And the other thing about that part that's really important that we're going to work on was she told her, like, if you want to, like, you know, overcome your enemies, you're going to have to surrender and invoke the spirit. And she's like, oh, it made the other girl crazy. And she's like, she took it to a dark place. So that was a really interesting thing that kind of stood out to me. Like, I never quite thought of like putting those two words together, but if you do put those two words together, it kind of makes more sense. Surrender and invoke the spirit. Like, I'm kind of like permanently there. I'm like half invoked, like, at all times, because she's always in me. And she's the one that steers these conversations and steers these videos. And it's always a matter of like, how much more of yourself, your individual self, can you let go of so that spirit steps in and does the work. But yeah, like, surrender and invoke the spirit. We do that all the time. It's like, you want the spirit in you. You want it to kind of like, it's the same thing as the metaphor I've talked about lately about floating in the pond and not making ripples. Instead of you see that movie teaches is where most people screw up on this journey. Like, it's a phase that everybody goes through. Like, oh, I'm going to use magic and get what I want. So I'm going to try and get stuff for myself, and then everybody that pisses me off, I'm going to like do something to them. Like, I see so many people make that freaking mistake. And that's where they get the whole, like, whatever you send out, you get back towards three. That's just another way of saying, like, look, you don't yet realize that what you truly are is part of spirit. That means everything else is too. So if you attack this person over there, well, spirit's in them too. You're part of spirit. They're part of spirit. You're attacking yourself. So the more you are in conflict with the world, the more ripples and karma and things are coming back towards you. And pretty much everybody that goes through a magic phase, like, makes that freaking stupid mistake. Like, you eventually learn, like, I could say a lot of what I do would fall under magic. It's just a word to describe, like, you know, changing things using your mind. But I'm not using like anybody else's stuff. It's just what she teaches me. But what I'm doing isn't harming anything. I'm not doing things to get stuff from all, like, everything is basically based on, what do I got to do to enhance the connection to spirit, or help other people enhance their connections to spirit. That's what I use it for. I don't ever do anything like, first of all, I'm pretty much isolated from everybody these days. So I'm not dealing with, social problems or anything like that. But yeah, I use it on myself to better myself, to clear myself, to increase the connection to spirit, and to help other people increase their connection to spirit. And we could just call it that. We don't need to, like, I can use the Gnostic Christian terminology, but I don't have to, because it's all the same freaking thing. But we are trying to get ourselves in tune with spirit as spirit naturally is, without all the negative baggage, all the negative frequency type stuff. We're learning to let go of that. It's the ego mind that attaches to the negative stuff. That's why we work so hard to shed the ego mind. But yeah, it was an interesting clip that taught a couple things. And then the next one that I saw going through Tubi was one that I had not seen in a long time. I didn't watch all of it. I just watched part of it. It was kind of like one of the original, I guess you could call it a truther movie, Zeitgeist. Remember Zeitgeist? Now, there's a couple things in this one part that I don't agree with, like the words that they're using or what they're insinuating. But it does show something that is confirmable. And it's something that you like really got to think about and consider, like, what this actually means. And this is like what I was saying before about how, you can eventually let go of the stories because the stories are there as a way to teach you things. I've also said that I feel like the same story gets used age after age to teach the same lesson. Like each age is like a class, like a soul class, before you go on to the next thing. And then when they reset it, they have kind of the same format, but they've changed the names of things. And that has to do with like the symbology of the Christ spirit, the sun, the light, and the stories that are there to help you. Some of it is like astrotheology. So they specifically talk about the story of Jesus. He was born on December 25th. He had three wise men, born of a virgin, um, was crucified, dead for 3 days, rose again, 12 disciples. Like that format has been used many times beyond Jesus. Horus, Egyptians, um, Dionysus, Greek, I think Krishna, Hindu. There's a bunch of other ones that I just can't think off the top of my head. It's the same format. It's always trying to teach you the same stuff. And maybe that's why that particular part of the equation, the Christ part, I don't interact with it as much as an individual being. It's more of like an overall kind of energy. Once or twice it has, but it wasn't like, the character that's taught about in church. It's usually the feminine side that I'm dealing with, but it does teach you stuff. And the fact that this exists in our history, that you can just keep going further and further and further and further back in history past the biblical times and find that all these different cultures had the same freaking story, then it kind of teaches you not to be so wrapped up in the stories. Yeah, it's teaching you something. It's connecting to spirit and the spirit's connection to the sun and like all these different things. But we don't need to get wrapped up in the story so much. Like if you're religious, it's all about the story. You know the story and everyone else is wrong and you're missing the entire point of it. But I think she showed it to me just as a means of like, yeah, see, like you can let go of the stories. Like the more you let go of, the less you know, the more you're connected, the less you know, the more you know, kind of sort of like that. Because when you create the stories, bring with it obstacles and blockages and things like that. And eventually you can just let go of it. You can just let go of it, as far as you need it. But spirit is the one that's going to guide you to the things that are going to work the best for you. But eventually you're going to find like that's what you are. You're a part of her, of the great spirit, whatever. You're just an individualized piece of it, connected to everything. And you're trying to remember who you are, what you are. And that you don't need the world. You don't need all these external things. You don't need all these people. And you start eventually just pulling further and further. The more you pull away from the world and interacting with the world, the more complete you feel. It's nice. It's nice. I don't know. This is an ongoing thing. That's why we do the Chronicles. But this letting go of what you think you know in the mind, letting go of the past and the past things that you felt in the heart, it's all letting go. It's all like you've created this big construct of like the character that you're playing. And now you're at the point where you're breaking down that construct and heading back to what you are. That transfers now forward into these stories about the future. I've done it. Everybody does it. Like this whole we think we know what's going to happen thing. We know something is, but we don't know exactly what it's going to look like. Because a lot of these stories are metaphors and things like that. Something is definitely happening. We're seeing it happen. And it may look very different than what we think it does or what it's going to be. Some interesting things that have popped up lately. Cliff High has been talking about stuff in his data where he had, and the future forecasters saw this too, like a long time ago, it's almost like he predicted that there would be Trump would be on Rogan. And that would be like this big kind of like milestone. And then I think he said like 30, I forget the exact number, 30 some days, 35, 30, I don't know, 33. So many days after the Rogan podcast, whatever the number is, it comes up to be like, I think around the first week of December, like something big was supposed to happen involving stuff like, I don't know, UFOs, spaceships, things appearing in the sky. A lot of that stuff has been coming up. And what was even more interesting in connection to that was this thing that she kind of dropped in front of me today that I found on X. And it had to do with like the Hopi Native American prophecies for like the end of the age. Like what happens at the end of the age. And when you hear what they're describing, it sounds an awful lot like elements of, you know, the Christian version or stuff like that. It's just slightly differently worded. But there was some other really interesting things in this that people are pointing out now when it that had to do with, you know, this person with a red hat. And it's like, it's kind of like the higher beings or whatever are going to come back and sort things out. And what he describing is kind of like almost like the same thing as like separating the wheats and the tares. And I'm just going to let you listen to it yourself. I think it's about maybe 10 minutes long, but it's very interesting if you've never heard it before. Like the Hopi, because maybe you've come across things here and there. You've heard stuff like Blue Star Kachina and stuff like that. But listen to what this old documentary, this Native American, is describing this Hopi prophecy. I think you'll find it interesting.
I was wondering about who are those people that's going to purify this land? How are they going to do it? So they explained to me, we have a gourd rattle that we still use in our ceremony. And that gourd rattle represents the world. On one side, this figure is on the drawing. And another one is on this side. There'll be a gourd rattle. We still use them. But one old man told me, take a look. Whoever has this symbol in this world going to shake us up 2 times. And it just came to me quickly. And I wondered, what nation ever shown something similar to this one? Because they will be very intelligent people. They're going to produce many inventions of all types. They're going to be so powerful that they're going to use that to shake us up real hard. And they're going to almost destroy themselves. But later, out of it, a new generation is going to rise. This time they will know what to do in the right manner, for the right purpose. Then around it, there's a sun symbol. Those people are very intelligent people that have that symbol. They have produced many things, invent many things. And they become powerful. And they also shake us up 2 times. Second time, with the help of another. These two have shook us up 2 times real hard, warning us. And they almost destroy themselves. But out of it, a new generation is coming, stronger, much better equipment, everything, powerful things going to be developed by these 2 people. Then the third one that will finally bring about purification of this land in this continent would be a man with red cap, red hat, or red cloak. Now, we do not know who that nation is or what people, but they say those people will have a large population and they will also have much scientific inventions of all type. Very powerful nation going to be. So once he start moving, these others too will join him with all their power and might. The three of them going to come here quickly together, and nothing can stop them. This time they're going to come right here. They say even they're going to come here so fast they come here for breakfast. Now this is nice clear day today, calm, everything nice. Tomorrow morning maybe we get up at breakfast time, then the whole sky will be darkened. Old man said, I don't know what will cause the darkening of the sky. Then he said the people will be raining from the sky. And in one day they're going to get control of this whole continent. And they're going to cut us up into 4 sections. And they're going to look for a leader that still remains, a native leader, still remaining to the spiritual path. And to him they will gather people here to him. And they will say, now these people, I gave them the religion and the duty to produce things, to invent things, and to become powerful people. When they came here, what have they been doing to you? Now, suppose he was the last chief still remaining in this area. They will ask him, and they will say, well, those people have destroyed my people. They have taken care of and taken everything from my people, land, rivers, and hunting rights, and everything that I used. They just took it away from me against my opposition. Then those that have done that, what we call purification, would be the real wicked people. People who have taken advantage of them in that manner. These figures had no heads on them. That will be their supreme punishment. Because right in daylight, right in public, they're going to weed out those bad people and they're going to chop their heads off, they said. And that is what they said will happen. That's first punishment. Then they say, what about these people here? And he will look at them and said, well, at least they make an attempt to help us. They did try to do something to help us, protect us. And they will pull out all those people. They will know you can't get away. They said they'll have some means of catching you. And they will bring those people. There'll be a lot of those people. Then they will say, look, you have disturbed this land, life, these people. You have polluted their rivers and land and everything. Now you go and clean it up. And whoever survives out of that will be able to stay with the leader here. Then they say, what about these people? These people have really suffered, been persecuted and laughed at. They've been punished and they've been beat up also because they really stood by me. And they will pull out those people and they will be brought to him and they will be respected. That is what they say will happen at this period by the people that has this symbol and man with red cap and red cloak. They will come from east direction, from sun, where the sun rises. And they will come here quickly. And they will have something to paralyze all man-made machinery. Everything come to a standstill. All power will go out. All man-made machinery will come to a standstill. And we will be helpless when they just come and take it over. And this is what they will happen to by those people that are coming from the east direction. Now, if those people are commissioned by the Great Spirit to do that for the Great Spirit, if we can't clean it ourselves here, and if they fail, then the Great Spirit said there are another people coming from west direction. They'll be coming here for a long time. They're just taking this time. Slowly they're coming and building up more power, more people, more invention, and all that, and they just kept coming. If these people doesn't come here to purify this for the Great Spirit, then this one will come. And they said, when that happens, don't get them on the housetop and watch, because those people are coming from the west direction. There'll be millions of people coming up on the west coast, like ants crawling up on the land. And they will have no mercy for anyone. They'll be very cruel and severe, they're not going to ask questions. They're just going to whip everything as they come. They're going looking for someone that will hold on to this spiritual path here. They're going to do that. This is what they said is going to happen. But these two purifiers on both sides are coming to this continent here where we started from, and we came back. We just about to destroy ourselves, mess it up. We can't straighten ourselves up. Then these purifiers will have to do it. This is what they said will happen here. So whoever comes out, then we will meet the Great Spirit. But if not, if no one listens, then these elders, religious men, will go down into the kiva, go through a ceremony. Then they go over a prayer to four corners of this earth, to the above and to the below, and said, all right, none of these, my children, my people have listened to me or helped me. Now you take over. That's when the cloud will rise like this. Lightning will strike 2 or 3 times all over this land. Like the old people said, if you have light power line in your house now, that power is going to run in and just blow up everything in there. And everything is going to happen when that lightning strikes. And so that's why some of these traditional people don't want power line into their village yet. They don't want to put it in their home. And then they also don't want running water inside of the house because that's going to be so polluted one of these days. And that's going to be affected in some way when white man or whoever has the power, like the goat full of ashes, which you now interpret to be hydrogen bomb or atom bomb or whatever bomb they have now invented, so powerful that once that hit someplace, it's going to pollute everything. So these are the things that are explained clearly, and I can't really go into all that detail, but it brings up to date what we're facing today. I've seen many things happening along this line now that it's being fulfilled. So they told us, go as far as you can to explain some of these to as many people, because there is still a faith by our elders that someday our white brother somewhere or somebody's going to realize it or hear it and understand it, and they're going to search and they're going to find out this is true. They're going to start going around to try and correct this before the purifiers come.
Now, if we consider that we don't know what we think, we don't know as much as we think we do, and things can oftentimes be a blend of what we expect. It's kind of like that movie Knowing with Nicolas Cage that involved like the space aliens and stuff like that, but they looked like angels. And then they took people and animals and started them over in a new place. It's highly likely that all these things could be one thing. Spirit, advanced technology, quantum consciousness, aliens, angels. It's almost like it's all one thing. And that's, at least, even if I don't fully understand it, it makes sense to me because of the things that I've detailed about that first major mushroom trip that she had me take. Like, I got blasted with a capital B. It was like she just told me to keep eating, and I didn't even know how much I was eating. It was like 12 freaking grams. 12 grams of straight freaking mushrooms. I was in different places, but one of them, it was like, I don't know that this is exactly it. I'm just trying to put it into words. I was in a higher dimension. Like, what pops into my head is like, imagine it was like this, you go from here to like the 7th dimension. And Sophia was there, but I couldn't see her. There was other higher beings there. And it's like she was talking about me, calling me a seed, and they were like doing tests on me. It's like they plugged my consciousness in and they were doing fear tests on me and stuff like that. But it felt I'd gotten past, so it's kind of like if the weird AI level that you access with mushrooms, like let's just call it the Archon simulation level, is down here. I was up here. And they were talking to me and they were testing me and stuff like that. And it felt like very, very, very advanced. And I remember it's almost like there was this rectangular window above me. I was laying on my bed, and there were things like looking down and talking to me, like, "Hey, what's it like in there, down in that lower dimension that you're in?" So that makes sense to me. I feel like when whatever happens, like we're going to be really shocked about what we thought the world was or how it worked. Like I'm seeing all these different keywords coming up a lot lately, and they even said it like in Zeitgeist, like all the world's a stage. They use words like state actors. We've seen in the craziness of the last 4 years, we've seen all these big political players, actors as they would call them. And if you actually study it, and people have started doing that, like collecting different pictures of them over time, if you're not paying attention, you think you're looking at the same person, but they've got all these ones of like, look at all these pictures of Biden. Look at all these pictures of Hillary Clinton. Look at all these pictures of John Fetterman. Look at all these pictures of Putin. All these major players. It's like they look different. It looks like there's different people wearing masks of that character. You can tell they're not the same. And we've even seen it. We know that they've got those real skin type masks. It's like almost impossible. Like I've seen videos of like someone wearing I think an Emma Watson from like Harry Potter, like a mask that looks like her. It looks just freaking like her. And then they pull their freaking face off. And it's like, nope, it's someone else. Like she pops it into my head constantly. The Simpsons episode where Homer Simpson rips the masks off the politicians and they're aliens. Like we don't know what the hell's going on, if we're being honest. But now the language is coming out of Trump's corner, constantly talking about a golden age and all sorts of other weird words. It's like weird stuff is going on. Weird stuff is going on. So we just got to be flexible and let go of what we think we know. That holds us back. In regards to that, then we kind of transfer into like the next section, which is huge. What I think one of the biggest things that is happening right now at different speeds for different people is they're starting to wake up more and question, what's in their head. Obviously, with her, I've got a leg up on it. It's a lot more pointed, what I'm seeing. And this is the area that she's working on with me as well, because it like keeps pulling me back. But now I see the mechanism and I have to stop it. Like I've been in this realm of like trying to figure out the weird puzzle of the world for so long that when you think you know what's going on, your mind constructs a narrative. And this is like probably the number one thing that causes people to suffer. And you're seeing that really clearly right now, where people actually believe that they know what is going to happen in the future. They concoct narratives that were fed to them by what I would say is the primary control structure in the world is mainstream media, news media. They're the ones that are creating the narratives and feeding them to people. And the less awake people are, the easier it is to feed it to them. It doesn't matter that there's no evidence of it, or if they're twisting words or anything like that. It's so easy when you got them on the hook. You just give them suggestions and their mind incorporates it. So what you're seeing right now with the Trump election is everybody on the left is losing their freaking minds. They're losing their freaking minds, especially the women on like TikTok. And listening to what they're talking about, I'm like, where did you get this freaking story? It's the media that fed it to you. No, like I watched the whole thing. Like nobody said this stuff, but they've like concocted this fiction in their head that makes no sense about Trump's going to control your freaking body or something like that. It's like he had nothing to do with Roe v. Wade or any of that crap. The Supreme Court kicked it down to the states. That's how democracy is supposed to work. But man, they have just, I've seen Kamala Harris do it. I've seen all these people do it. It's like they've let people be like, he's going to control this and he's going to they're shaving their heads off. They're like freaking out and saying, we're all gonna, next 4 years, we're not gonna have sex with anybody. That's probably the best freaking thing that you could possibly do to straighten yourself out. But like they're holding it over about everyone's heads, like, oh, you're hurting me. I'm like, I'm freaking celibate. I'm married to spirit. I give two shits what you do. But these people, the weird, crazy freakouts that I'm seeing and what they're doing, and I've done the same thing on different levels, is they are imagining this, whatever it was they programmed into them. Trump's going to do this, Trump's going to do that. Oh, now the right's in, so like we're going to turn you into handmaiden tale or what. I don't know. I can't wrap my freaking brain around it. They're only imagining it. They're imagining what they think is going to happen in the future, but they're imagining this horrible future in the now. And whatever you imagine in the now, there's only now. So they're bringing a future imaginary horror story that has not happened. That's the crazy thing about this. Once it clears up, once you see it, like everything they're freaking out about right now, like it's the end of the freaking world. None of this has happened. It's non-existent. It has not happened. And they're just afraid of something that's going to happen in the future. And this is the primary thing in the world in which we create our suffering. So this is specifically addressed in this little speech that Will Smith gives his son in the movie After Earth. So let's watch that real quick.
And it dawned on me. Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity, Qatar. Now, do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. We are all telling ourselves a story. And that day mine changed.
So what happens is the mainstream media that seeks to control you is weaponizing your own imagination against you. And then you're taking it out on people that have not done the things that you're imagining that they one day will do. And like Will Smith said, that is near insanity. It is. There's no other way to put it. Now, me, because of the path that I went through, I'm always looking for like, oh, we're going to get duped or it's a trick or something like that. So I observe the self when I'm doing reflection, these stories trying to take root. And now she's teaching me to see that and stop it. You don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know that. Your mind has still got a lot of details rolling around in it that you picked up over time. And that's what it wants to do. It wants to create a future story. And what we're learning to do now is to interrupt that, not let our mind do that. What is happening right now? Right now. Okay, Trump is not standing at your door with a chastity belt and a microchip. He's not there. It hasn't happened. You're imagining it. Your imagination has gone completely off the rails. That's what mainstream media does. That's why mainstream media is the number one problem in the world. Is people have literally lost touch with reality in the here and now. They're reacting to their imagination and they're suffering because of it. They're scared, they're unhappy, they're fearful, they're depressed because of what their own mind is creating. It's not happening. You know, I kind of almost got into it with a friend last night because even the spiritual people I know, like, they're still struggling with breaking the paradigm. It used to be that you had to choose. Are you on the left or are you on the right? What's your team? You got to let that go. That's like, I would call that the last biggest id entity that you need to let go of if you want to be free of it. So she popped something into my head. It was actually really smart. It's like, everyone thinks they got to choose a side. Well, I have to choose a side. I have to choose a side. Okay, we're going to let you choose a side. What side do you want to be on? But we didn't tell you how many sides there are. Instead of like just the left or right, we're going to make it a triangle. Okay, so here's the triangle. Do you want to be on the left side, the right side, or the light side? Spirit. Now you get to let your brain do what it wants to do. It gets to choose a side. But left and right are constructs controlled by the world that is designed to keep you in conflict. But if you choose the light, you're stepping away from the world. You're stepping away from the illusions. You're stepping away from the freaking, all the stuff they programmed into you. So, yeah, and then you can start to break from these paradigms, from these narratives that are torturing people. Right now, every time we have this election, you know, and it was with the right too. Everyone was in fear of like, what if the left gets in? What are they going to do? Well, the right got in. So it's like, oh my God, what are they going to, like, everyone is afraid of what the other side's going to do. And it's all in your imagination. It hasn't happened. And if you can break that cycle, if you can break that future narrative path, you will not create yourself into it. This is what Spirit is trying to teach the spirit people right now. It's like, you don't have to take the choices that they offer anymore. See, when you're playing in the world and you have things like presidential elections, you only have two sides. You know, all these other parties, they don't freaking matter. It's like that Simpsons thing with the aliens under the presidential mask. And the guy in the crowd's like, I'm just going to vote third party. Go ahead, throw your vote away. It's a two-party system. So disconnect from that. But if we had to simplify it down to one important point, it's this. Everybody that is quietly, of course, they're not going to say it out loud on a channel like this, but amongst their friends, they're like, oh, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. I see it sneaking into my Facebook. And it's like, good God Almighty. Do you realize, like, when I see it, like, I know exactly where it came from. It came from the freaking TV into their ears. And now they think they know it. Well, I wish people would have figured out how tariffs work. And, oh, that's a narrative that was fed to you by the TV. Stop knowing stuff. Stop being invested in the future story. You are not Nostradamus. We have to stop thinking that we know the future. We're creating a fearful narrative of the future that has not happened and is not happening at this present time. This is how you learn to disconnect from the world, which has kept you in a box all this freaking time. Find out who you are without that stuff. You don't have to be left or right. People might say I lean more right, but like I don't take that side. I'm on the light side. Or as you know, the joke that we made the other night, I am a light wing extremist with her. She's the original light wing rebel. Yeah, light side. Like quit playing in the freaking sandbox that they intentionally corrupted for you. Okay? Recognize your fears. If you're having these conversations with people like, oh, they're going to do this, they're going to do, and it's the same thing with like the right side narratives too. It's full of things that you don't possibly know. Who's the deep state? What's the deep state? Where's the deep state? What are they doing? You know, this is what they're going. Nobody freaking knows that. These are just stories they keep feeding us. We just keep taking in these parts, and we create this scenario in our head. And if we want to get free of this place, we want to get connected to spirit, we have to stop playing. You have to stop playing. If you're stuck in it, talk to me. I will walk you through it. Because it's just a matter of like, how do you know that? Someone has to just keep asking you, how do you know that? And you'll be like, oh, well, because it's like we said in recent videos. Everyone thinks they know what Trump thinks. Everyone thinks they know what Trump feels. Everyone thinks they know what Trump's plans are. How the hell do you know that? You don't. You're imagining it. This whole world is based on illusion. It gives you things, it gives you pieces of the puzzle to make a story, and then you imagine the story. And you create the suffering. You create the reasons why you're going to suffer. So something is happening in which spirit is teaching us how to let go of this stuff. And maybe something big is going to happen that's going to be similar to what everybody expects in some way or another, but it's going to catch us off guard when we actually see it. Like, it is the end of the age. There's something going to happen. There's going to be a sorting of people. There's going to be some sort of reset. There's going to be something. We just don't really know. But the best thing that we can do, it's like, simple manifestation things, dress for the job you want to have, sort of thing. Well, if you want to be back reattached to the light and you want to be in a place of love and compassion and freedom and happiness and joy, then you got to start connecting to that now. You got to cultivate the light that you have inside you. And that's why Lumen comes up with ways in which we can help do that, like that video at the beginning. You have to practice it. But reflection. If you're spazzing out, if you're in fear of what you think is going to happen, and this goes for the people more that are stuck in the metaphysical mud too, because I've been in that place before. You think you know all about the metaphysical bad guys. You think you know what they're doing. You think they do this. You think they do that. Like, that's why you experience it. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Because when you get clear of all that stuff, even if there are elements to that there, like, it doesn't bother you anymore. But you put more effort into focusing on what you think, because it's almost like when you're getting through life and everything's rough and stuff like that, it's like there has to be a reason for it. Why does everything suck? Why can't I figure this out? Oh, there's bad guys that trick you. Well, that's an easy enough explainer for things, but it's more complicated than that. But it's your belief in that makes it real. Like I said, I did 9 months where I deleted all that stuff out of my head and I didn't see any of it. And I just let it back in a little bit just because I was so bored. But yeah, I deleted it out of my head like a hard drive and none of it happened. Didn't see any evidence of it, nothing. We are collectively, cooperatively creating storylines of the future. And it's always a bunch of fear elements. We got to just stop doing that. All right, was there anything else that we wanted to talk about? Let me see my notes here. Yeah, the only other thing was, we talked about it earlier, but I just want to reiterate it, because when people hear the word Benedict exorcism, they think of demons. No, exorcism means purification. It's a purification. And you can, when we do that, like if you're listening to those videos, we'll make more of them. Aim it at your mind and aim it at your heart to get the poison out. You know, the English translation of the Benedict exorcism is, may the holy light be my guide, or may the holy cross be my light, may the dragon never be my guide. Get back, Satan. Do not tempt me with your vanities. The cup you offer is evil. Drink the poison yourself. Crus sacrus sit mihi lux nandracus sit mihi lux vade retro satana. Nam quam swati mihi vana sunt malique libas ipse venina bibas. You know, don't tempt me with your bull crap stories. Don't tempt me with your bull crap narratives. Don't let the bad thing, the dragon, guide me by feeding you all these stories from the news, and then you start building a narrative path that's going to lead you astray. Reject it. What you're giving me is poison. Drink it yourself. I'm purifying myself. I'm aiming that powerful technique at my mind, knowing that there's all sorts of corruption in there that I might not see. But if you're constantly doing it with that purpose, she will guide it. And you'll start to see what it is you're actually doing, letting go of what you think you know. You aim it at your heart to get the poison out. You're going to draw out all the things you need to let go of and transmute and heal. And then work at opening the chakra. Purification. We got to purify our minds. We got to purify our hearts. And then we will be more in sync with spirit, and everything gets better the more you're able to do that. So that's all we got for right now. I'll probably, right now I put that Lumen video in the Essentials playlist. Once we get at least one more put together, I'll start a new playlist for these sorts of things, and then also put in some of the older ones that she made that help you connect. If you want to get in touch with us, you can contact us through the Etsy store, clumencreations.etsy.com. We will get some more stuff listed, but honestly, the best thing is to get something made for you personally. And if there was if there was one thing and you didn't know what else to pick, it would be the Luminite liquid chrism core made for the individual one. That means it's not already made. That means we're going to build it, and she knows who it's for and guides what to put into it. It never fails when we do it that way. The other one is like, if you know for a fact that you're really struggling with a lot of heavy negative stuff and you're having a hard time with it, the other custom one is like the custom Aegis. So either which one of those, we have to build them. And then it's going to be like she takes over. She's the one that is like, use this stone, use that stone, put it here, put it there. She kind of like builds the circuit board, because she knows what you need better than I don't know what you need. She does. You're the one, you're plugged into her just like I am. And then even if you get ones that's just more spiritually connected, you know, you're going to get the Benedict stuff with it. That's got the crazy programming to it. So either which way, you're going to get both things. And then we've got the new Harrock oil, which is kind of like a universal high vibe energy Lumen oil. All these things work rather well. Hopefully I'll be caught up with everything today. It's like as soon as I catch up, I get a couple more orders. But I want to take take a day and just list a whole bunch of these other ones that I have to list, because some people do see some and they're like, oh, that one's calling to me. And then we do all that stuff we talked about in the beginning with the anointing and sharing Lumen, sharing Sophia, tuning it to you. So either which way, it always works out. Okay, so that's all we got for right now. Chris and Lumen. See you next time.